Wyatt Earp, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.
Marshal Wyatt Earp faced the hatred and gunfire of many men in the towns of Wichita, Dodge City, and Tombstone. But none hated him more than did the 10% ring and the head of all the outlaws, Old Man Clanton.
Well, Emperor Clanton, king of all the outlaws, bushwhacked. What were they after you for?
Because I got the payroll for my outfit with me, and they don't know who I am. That's why I seen them watching outside the bank, saddled tramps.
It's a good thing I saw him, too, otherwise you'd be dead.
From this little scratch, they'd be dead, you mean. Next time I'll thank you to mind your own thundering business.
Hey, don't you want your hat and coat?
How much money you make a month?
Well, that's kind of a personal question, isn't it?
Public official, ain't you? Matter of public record, ain't it?
Well, then you can look it up.
I'll give you $500 a month to work for me.
Doing what?
Ramrodding. Foreman of my outfit, boss the whole spread next to me.
You figure I'm worth that much money?
No, but that's my offer. What do you say?
I say no.
No.
You steal cows to stock your range, and you hold up stages to buy feed. You're a thief, and you got thieves working for you. Mr. Clanton, I don't want anything to do with your outfit.
All right, I'll give you $1,000 a month.
Why do you still ask me?
You figure you saved my hide just now. Well, don't you?
Well, I guess you could put it that way.
Tain't long ago you saved my sons, and now you save me. Blame it if it ain't more than a man can stand. But I'm telling you right out, you get in my way, I'll kill you just the same.
Who do you think you are, Dameron? You run a newspaper not worth 2 bits, the whole shebang.
I've made the Tombstone Nugget the best newspaper in the West.
You made nothing. Our organization loaned you the money to start the Nugget. We supported you with county advertising and a good salary.
I know, but I'm the editor.
When I picked you up, you were a drunken printer. You want to go back to wearing patches in your pants?
I know. No, I don't.
Then you better shut up and listen. We're going to get rid of Wyatt Earp for good. And you're going to help us.
How?
By smearing him. Until the law and order folks in Tombstone get sick enough to throw him out.
Smear him? With what? Why, nobody in Tombstone will believe anything bad about Earp. He never does anything.
We'll furnish the evidence. You just print it.
Legal evidence?
Certainly. We have a dozen witnesses who will swear Wyatt Earp is leading a double life. Here. Get yourself a cheap hotel room. The witnesses will come to you.
What if Earp sues me? The witnesses will have to go to court.
They won't change their stories, even in court.
You got any other place to read a newspaper than my office?
I like it here.
The Nugget. What do you read that one for, anyway?
There's a lot in this particular issue.
Like what?
This official census, the one they took last year, for one thing.
Yeah?
How many people do you think there are in the United States?
Oh, I don't know. 40 million?
You're way off. 50 million.
No. 50 million?
Mm-hmm. According to the official 1880 census. How many people do you think there are in the Arizona Territory?
Oh, 12, 14,000?
You're even further off. 40,440.
Oh, wow. It's interesting. I always figured that Arizona's getting overcrowded.
There's another interesting item here.
Yeah, well, do me a favor and read it to the bartender over at the Alhambra, will you? I got some work to do. Gotta get out a report.
Seems there's a girl by the name of Audrey who married a fella. 2 weeks later, he got a job at the birdcage, and he took all her wages.
Who was that?
You?
Me?
Mm-hmm. Says so right here.
Let me see that.
You hurt my feelings, Wyatt. The least you could have done is invited an old friend to your wedding.
Audrey Johnson. I don't even know her. The Nugget would print anything. Now, do me a favor. Will you get out of here so I can get some work done?
How much you gonna sue them for, Wyatt?
Sue?
The paper. For libel.
I'm not gonna sue anybody. In the first place, Dameron hasn't got any money. In the second place, nobody believes it.
What I like about you, Wyatt, beside your reckless bravery, is your simple mind and trusting nature.
Very nice, Dameron, very nice. A good start.
I thought it was. I went about as far as we can go.
Oh, no, you haven't. Next week, you're going to give them both barrels. Here.
Now, wait a minute, Ned. This is going too far.
Print it.
But a bandit, nobody will believe it. Not about Wyatt Earp.
Oh, yes, they will. If you're going to tell a lie about someone, tell a big one. Tell it big and tell it often. If you throw enough mud, some of it'll stick. You'll never wash it all off.
Oh, there you are, Mayor. I stopped by your office. You read it, huh?
Yes, I have, Doctor. Nobody's going to believe this stuff. That Dameron has no sense at all. You wait till you see the next edition of my paper when it comes out.
But it's right here in print. People won't stop to think that Dameron could be lying.
What? Wyatt Earp, the notorious bandana bandit? Ah, it's ridiculous. That Dameron's a fool.
Well, I think we ought to have a council meeting anyhow.
What for? There's nothing to it. It's all a pack of lies.
I don't know, Mayor. Last haircut that Earp had, he sure had a mighty big roll in his pocket.
You've got company, Wyatt.
Where have you been, Marshal Earp?
He's been out collecting his wife's wages and holding up another stage.
This is no joking matter, Holliday.
I agree.
Now, what can I do for you, gentlemen?
Well, Wyatt, the town council has just had a meeting. Have you seen the latest issue of the Nugget?
As well as the last one?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Well, Wyatt, the council is insisting that I ask you this question. Have these allegations any basis in fact?
Well, now, everybody knows, Mayor, that I really have 3 wives and that I have 50,000 Wells Fargo dollars in a secret bank account.
There you are, Mr. Jeffers. I told you there wasn't anything in it.
We can't afford to have you slandered, Wyatt. The law and order party's not that strong in Tombstone.
Another thing, Brother Earp. You must take some action to clear your name.
Oh, now, come on, gentlemen. You don't believe those stories, and neither does anybody else.
You have too high an opinion of the human race. You don't realize people like to believe scandal.
Not my friends.
An honest marshal has no real friends.
Don't you realize your silence is saying the Nugget is telling the truth?
And what would you suggest I do?
Sue him, Wyatt. Sue Dameron and the Nugget. Sue him for damages.
I see. Well, I have not been damaged, gentlemen. Now go on back to your offices, will you? I have that horse thief case coming up tomorrow, and I have to prepare my testimony for court. Goodbye, gentlemen. And thank you very much for your support. That means you too, Doc. Go on, get out of here.
Wyatt, Did you ever hear of Nero?
Judge Timberlake's walking horse?
No, the Emperor. The fellow who set fire to Rome.
You mean the one that fiddled while Rome burned?
Do you believe that?
Well, it's the truth, isn't it?
No. That was written by some Roman scandalmonger. Historians have since found out that actually is a big lie.
Well, that's the way I heard it.
That's just it. Somebody printed that lie about poor old Nero, and now everybody believes it, no matter what they found out since then. Once the scandal gets started, nothing will kill it.
I see. You're talking about me and the nugget, huh?
That's right. That's just what I'm talking about.
Well, there's just one big difference, Doc. Nero was a Roman emperor. He's in the history books. I'm just a U.S. Marshal in Arizona Territory.
It's no difference, Wyatt. You'll be in history books someday.
Me?
50, 60 years from now, some fellas will be writing histories of Arizona. When they get to the year 1881, who do you think they'll write about?
Well, not about me.
Oh, yes, they will. And when they get to Tombstone, they'll write about the people in it, won't they? You, Old Man Clanton, Johnny Ringo, the 10% ring. They might even include a footnote about me somewhere. Where do you think they're going to get this information? From some poor old person who's still alive, or some old copies of the Nugget that are still around? That's where.
Well, now, what can I do about that?
You can sue the Nugget and stop Dameron.
Well, Dameron doesn't count, and it isn't worth the time that it would take. Look, will you get out of here? I got some important work to do.
It's all right with me, Wyatt. If you want your name to go down in history with a slur on it. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Wyatt, when you're through, come down to your office. We'd like to talk to you.
Let's talk right here.
You, Doctor.
Wyatt, I've been defending you in my newspaper, but it doesn't seem to have done any good. The talk against you is getting stronger.
Get to the point, Mayor.
Well, unless you take some action to clear your name, the council feels it'll have to ask for your resignation.
You can't be serious.
You're reading the paper yourself, and yet you ask that? It says right there you've been taking money from every gambling house in Tombstone and threatening to close them up if you don't get it. Do you deny it?
You're beginning to believe this, aren't you?
It's right there in print, isn't it?
Hal, you've been reading the Nugget, haven't you?
Oh, don't get me in on this, Marshal. I can't cut hair just on one side. Not and stay in business, I can't.
You too, huh?
Now, don't take it like that, Wyatt. Nobody wants to believe that stuff.
But you do, don't you?
We didn't say that, Brother Earp.
Now you want my badge back. Well, gentlemen, when the council's ready to demand my resignation, I'll be at the office.
Hi, Wyatt.
Excuse me, Doc, but I am not in the mood to visit with anybody right now.
I figure that, but things will get worse.
They already have.
Too bad. I had something else on my mind.
Oh?
How would you like to make some big money, Wyatt?
Doing what?
Well, when I was playing poker last week, a fella got ambitious when he was holding 4 10s, and I had 4 queens. Now I find myself in possession of the Sally Silver Mine, but it'll take $25,000 to get it producing again. You put up the money and half the mine is yours.
Now, where would I get $25,000?
You're talking to your old friend, Doc. You're not on the witness chair now.
What do you mean by that?
I saw you collecting that money from Maine Griffith at the palace last night.
You what?
Yes, and at half a dozen other saloons, too. It's all right with me, Wyatt, but you should have $25,000 by now.
I was collecting tax money for the new school. That's part of my job.
Sure.
You believe those stories?
Some of them seem reasonable. And I'd be the last one to blame you, Wyatt.
Oh, you would you? Well, I'd made up my mind that I wasn't going to give a newspaper like the Nugget the satisfaction of being sued. But I see you have to protect yourself against your friends as well as your enemies.
Now, Miss Audrey, did you make the statements attributed to you in the Nugget?
Yes, sir.
And are they true?
Oh, yes, sir. Wyatt said we should keep our marriage a secret. After we were married by the Justice of the Peace in Benson, Wyatt gave me money to rent a suite at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. But pretty soon he said it was costing him too much, so he made me go to work at the bird cage.
And what happened to your wages?
Oh, I gave them to my husband, Mr. Earp. He made me.
Order in the court. Proceed, Mr. Taggart.
One more thing, Miss Audrey. Do you have the wedding license?
Oh, yes, I have it here.
I was riding shotgun on the Prescott stage when this road agent stepped out from behind a rock and got the drop on me.
And did you see his face?
Yes, sir. When he reached down to pick up the Wells Fargo box, the bandana fell down and I seen him clear as day.
And do you see this man now, here in this courtroom?
Yes, sir. That's him right there. It was Wyatt Earp.
Your Honor, this man is lying. Sit down, Mr. Earp.
Miss Griffin, what is your profession?
Mr. Taggart, I own and operate the Palace Bar and Gambling Hall. You know that.
On or about June 1st of this year, did Mr. Wyatt Earp enter your establishment and make you a proposition?
Yes, sir, he certainly did.
And what was the nature of that proposition?
Well, after drinking a whole bottle of my whiskey, which he didn't pay for, he said I'd have to make him a silent partner. If I didn't, he'd close me up and run me out of town.
And what share of ownership did Mr. Earp demand?
50%. I've been paying him $500 a week as his share of the profits. Besides what he shook out of the girls, that is.
Now, Mayor Clum, you've been saying that Marshal Earp is one of the most honorable men you've ever known.
That is absolutely right, sir.
Yet, in spite of that opinion, is it not possible that Marshal Earp could have married the young lady Audrey Johnson and even have put her to work in the birdcage?
Well, that is hardly probable.
Answer yes or no, sir.
Oh, it's possible, yes.
And therefore, is it not also possible that Marshal Earp is the bandana bandit and a half owner of the palace? Is it not, Mayor Clum?
Well, I suppose anything could be possible, yes.
That will be all, thank you.
Wait a minute! Anything could be possible, lawyer, but that question...
10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yes, I know, Wyatt, but let's face it, things are going badly for you. Look what happened to me on the stand.
I just don't understand how they can tell such lies. Me married, taking our wages.
Well, lies or not, you are up a dry gulch. Now, you better do something.
Do what? I took your advice. I sued the man. Look what happened.
Yes, I know. But there's got to be some way to stop Dameron.
Outside, Clum. This is personal and private with Earp.
You stay here. What's on your mind, Mr. Clanton?
Well, nothing social,
Then
Earp.
state your business.
Why ain't you defending yourself at that trial? Them documents is forgeries, every one of them. Even I know that, and I ain't no friend of yourn.
Knowing it is one thing, proving it is another. Nothing I can do.
Well, hang my hide. A couple more days of that kind of testimony, we'll have a new marshal around here.
Well, that shouldn't bother you any.
Typical John Law, you, Sonny. I can figure out every time. I don't want no new marshal in here gumming things up.
Mr. Clanton, your solicitude for Marshal Earp is very touching.
Never mind. If you could prove that all that testimony's a heap of lies, you'd be in the clear, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Now, for instance, that Audrey girl said she's married to you. If you could produce her real husband right there in court, that'd mean winning your whole case, maybe, wouldn't it?
Yes, very neatly.
If she's got a husband?
She's got one. Just last week he's in jail in Tucson, but he ain't now. Bring him in. Now, you done me what you thought was a favor a few days ago. You figured you saved my life and made me beholden to you. You even figured I couldn't kill a man what I owed my life to. Well, by thunder, you're paid.
Mr. Clanton, I thank you. Get inside.
Mr. Dameron, in view of the testimony now proved fraudulent, it is the opinion of this court that you have abused the freedom of the press to slander an honest man. Now, the court orders you to cease and desist from libeling Mr. Earp in your newspapers. Mr. Earp is dropping the suit for damages against you because he considers the testimony adduced in this hearing to completely vindicate him. However, any repetition of libel will force me to hold you in contempt. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
This case is dismissed.
Wyatt, I'll ask you one more time. Won't you please reconsider and take your badge back? You're not going to like it in California.
Oh, yes, I will. Goodbye. Mayor Clum.
Doc.
Wyatt, what's this I hear about California?
That's where I'm going.
Don't you realize if you leave, you're playing into the hands of the 10% ring? That's what they wanted all along.
Probably.
Not probably. They'd love to have you leave. California, anywhere.
Well, that suits me. Be a lot more saloons in California for me to take money from. I don't belong here.
Deacon, don't be a fool. Sometimes you gotta get a friend mad before he'll protect himself.
Well, you got me mad, all right. Thanks, Doc.
It's all right, Deacon. Come on over the Alhambra. I'll buy you a glass of milk.
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail. Oh, Wyatt Earp, Wyatt